mamas, papas, and everybody in the crew. Welcome back to my channel. I'm April, and today I'm coming to you with the 6 must-have products as you enter into your 4th trimester after giving birth to your baby. Now, let's not front or fake like postpartum is this glamorous piece in your life, because it's not. It's exhausting, it's hard, and it can be frustrating. And who almost has an 18-month-old, these are the products that allowed me to heal successfully and have the best recovery possible, especially because I recovered during the pandemic. So let's jump right into these products that I recommend that you have in your arsenal after baby. Now, I do want to mention that I had a natural vaginal delivery, so C-section mamas, just be mindful that some parts of this may be different from how you had to have your recovery, but there are going to be parts in this video that I definitely think that you can benefit from as well. So we're going to jump right into the first item that I recommend that you have. Now, a lot of these items you are going to get from the hospital or birth center or even a home birth. These are a lot of the items that you're probably going to already have, but the first that I recommend that you get is either the dermoplast or having frozen pads. Now, what exactly does this do and why is it important? When you first give birth, it is swollen down there. It is so swollen depending on how long the baby was sitting down there, how long you had to push, how stressed you were, blood pressure, all that affects your kudamu and the butt area. And it becomes very, very challenging to pee and to poop. So in those very early days, you're going to need something to help soften the blow after you go to the bathroom. Keep in mind, you can't leave the hospital until you're able to poop or pee. Same thing at a birth center. I couldn't leave until I pooped or peed. So that's going to be the first thing you want to make sure you have. It allows you to start the swelling to go down and help release some of the heat that's in that area. It takes quite a while before the swollen parts deswellenize themselves. So by having either the dermoplast or having frozen pads allows you to do is to start cooling off the temperature in that area. It can take up to a week to really feel relief if you sit down there. Keep in mind, you might have tore and you had to get stitches. You might have had to have emergency surgery. They might have had to do some extra stuff down there after you've given birth. So it's gonna take some time in order for you to feel relief in that area. And these 2 products you're going to definitely want to make sure that you have and use them as long as you need. Use them as long as you need. The next item that you're definitely going to make sure you want to have is a sitz bath. Now, the sitz bath for me, I used all the way up until I was medically cleared, which was about 14 weeks after I gave birth to my son. And what the sitz bath does is all that dead blood and all the stitching and all that craziness that they had to do when the baby first came out, it helps to cleanse it. You're not going to be able to add any soap in that area. You're not going to be able to add anything that's going to sting or burn. So being able to sit in a sitz bath for 15-20 minutes a day, or even after every time you use the bathroom for the first few weeks, is going to allow you to, again, bring down a lot of that swollen parts that you might have, soothe the areas that have stitching, and just allow you to relax for that moment. And what you should do is, if you find that after you go to the bathroom, the sitz bath helps, especially after you poop, you might want to do a sitz bath just to help, because again, in the first couple of weeks, you're not going to be able to really wipe that heavy back there. Make sure that while you're doing that, someone's watching the baby. It's going to be really tough the first few days coming home after you give birth, but the sitz bath is going to allow you to relax and have those moments in peace. Your partner or everyone in your crew should be mindful of that. If they're women, they've known this process, they've been through it, but it really helps you to also relax your mind. And the 15 minutes that you're probably going to sit on there is just going to help everything heal up nicely. The next thing you want to make sure you have is witch hazel pads. Now, they're going to give you some when you first leave the hospital, but you're going to have to buy a few more. And let me tell you what these witch hazel pads do. It's going to help you heal. It's almost like a natural form of medication that you're putting down there. It's really effective if you've had stitches or if you tore really, really bad. Keep in mind, you can have anything from 1-degree tears to 4-degree tears, and that also takes a while to heal up. You're probably going to be wearing using the witch hazel pads up until closer to the time that you're going to be getting medically cleared from your doctor. So that's something that's going to be used a lot longer than some of the other products that I'm mentioning. But again, this is really going to help you heal and feel better. It's cool. So when you put on maybe your cool pad or using the thermoplast spray, you've also put that witch hazel in there, and you're going to just feel this sense of relief, because again, that area stays hot and things are really swollen for the first few weeks after you give birth. And so being able to also have that, natural healing agent of the witch hazel, that disinfectant property, is going to allow all the stitching to soothe, so it's not really itchy. And also if you have any tears down there, it's going to help soothe that and be like the medicine that you need in order to heal that stuff up. Now, this is something that I used. I don't know how other women feel about it, but instead of using the pads, I used Depends. And the Depends for me were really, really effective. In the early stages, I didn't really feel like taking off the pad, putting a new pad back on. The first few weeks until the blood starts to taper off, you are bleeding heavy. And you're going to be changing pads regularly, but I found wearing the Depends allowed me to go a little bit longer and have a lot more security in knowing that the postpartum process is happening. I don't have to change every time I go to the bathroom. Now, the only thing I would change every time you go to the bathroom is the witch hazel pads and adding that dermoplast spray. If you're not using the frozen pads at that point, every time you go to the bathroom, you make sure you applying that. It's going to help speed up that process of things cooling down there. But yeah, the Depends, I use that and replace with my underwear, so I really wasn't messing it up. And the Depends comes in different sizes. It held quite a bit. I bled really, really heavy. Like I said, I didn't even get cleared until 14 weeks after I gave birth to my son. So it held up quite a bit. And after, the blood tapers off and your normal period starts back, you will definitely tell the difference. But the Depends is really going to save you if you don't want to change your pad as often as you will probably have to the first few weeks after giving birth. The next thing that I would recommend any woman get is a compression belly belt. Now, what is this going to do? Now, for women who can breastfeed, it's going to help the uterine contract a lot faster than women who aren't breastfeeding. Myself, I started to breastfeed and express, but after a month into my 4th trimester, we found out my son had a milk intolerance that was found in my breast milk, so I had to stop expressing and breastfeeding at that time. But I was also using the compression belt to help my uterus contract. Now, your uterus will naturally contract on its own, but women who breastfeed, it contracts a lot faster. And if you're not breastfeeding, it's going to take a lot longer. Your body will try to reset back to where it was, but the compression belt allows it to go faster. The next thing that the compression belt and belly belt allow you to do is realign your pelvis and your spine to regain your natural center of gravity. I think this step is really, really missed with the compression belt and the pelvic belt, because a lot of women I find do not use them, but you should. When you're pregnant, depending on how much weight you're gaining, I'm only 5'1", and I gained about 50 to 60 pounds when I was pregnant, and my center of gravity was all jacked up. And without using the compression belt and the pelvic belt, I don't know if I would have been able to even get down to my pre-pregnancy weight, because I was just so heavy. And even though naturally I'm a petite woman, I'm older, and being able to also help recenter my natural form of gravity allowed me to walk, which will be another step, and also just kind of regain my confidence that things were returning back to normal. Now, it's recommended that you wear the pregnancy belly belt for the first year, which is 52 weeks after you give birth. I did it for about 30 weeks and then I felt like I was good to go. There are instructions that come with the pregnancy belt of how to use it. There's a part where in the beginning you're just using one part, then you add on the pelvic belt, and you have to do it for a certain amount of hours every day. You're not sleeping in it. So just be really mindful of the company that you buy, and please make sure you follow the instructions, because that's going to be the best way to help you get back to normal. The last thing that I definitely recommend you do is walk. Walk, 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 walk. And let me tell you why. Movement is going to be key to you feeling better. Now, I'm not saying that when you first give birth, you need to be out here walking, walking, walking. What I'm saying is, if you're feeling good, your bleeding's tapering off, start walking. By the time I got to maybe 16 weeks postpartum, I was walking like an hour a day outside. I was pushing the stroller with Noah and taking Cooper. It's going to be really important to help you mentally and emotionally readjust to the new life of being a mom. Whether if you're a first-time mom or you're a mom of multiple children, getting up and exercising the body and having some form of movement is going to help in your recovery. It's going to allow you to mentally take a break, because that's also a huge part of the fourth trimester, is feeling good mentally as well as physically. And if you are not able to have clear space, then you're not going to be able to clear the space that you have internally. So walking is going to be crucial in making sure that you're able to heal properly. And again, in the early weeks, I'm not saying go out here and run a marathon. The doctor will probably tell you, girl, have several seats. But as you get closer out, when the baby gets closer to 3 months and 4 months and 5 months, you should really be moving that body regularly, freeing the mind so that you can clear up all the trauma, whether it was good trauma, bad trauma, or indifferent trauma from your birthing experience. So that's it for today's video. I hope you found it informative. Let me know in the comments if there's any other things that you would like to know that I used for my postpartum fourth trimester journey. Those are just the top things that I know a lot of people are going to have access to, but there are definitely other items that I use that I can go over in a future video. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment below, as well as subscribe to my channel for more recommendations and products that I use for mamas, papas, and everybody in the crew. And until next time, take care. Bye.